let's do this then. Let me ask you a little bit about yourself because we're not acquainted. And dude, you were super cool about just saying like, I don't know who this guy is, but he hopped into the Discord. I've been lurking for a minute. If you check the logs.
There's a lot of people who do the same thing as you that don't speak up and just watch, you know? So, I mean, I give everyone a fair shot, whether they're big YouTuber, small YouTuber, whatever. Doesn't matter. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. I'm on the smaller end of the YouTuber scene, but I don't know. For me, I value the interactions and the talks with project leadership and with community and with devs, especially more so than like, you know, checking to see what is the most profitable thing for mining this week. Because, dude, mining rewards, that's a fickle pursuit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can overbuild in one area of your mine and then be like GPU heavy when like there's no profit in GPUs, or be ASIC heavy when they go obsolete. It's just, I don't know. I find the projects more interesting personally.
Oh yeah. And it's just a big rabbit hole too, man, because you can just start reading, and then you just get into other things that have to do with that topic, and it just keeps on going. Like I feel like I've been reading for the past like 4 years. It's just ridiculous.
Right? I mean, crypto has a way of making anybody, I mean, I've seen like some seasoned developers, it makes anybody feel like they're a complete noob.
Oh yeah, especially when new tech comes out and everything. Oh man.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's start from the beginning then with the project. I'm going to kind of take some project vitals. This can be rapid fire as you choose in your responses, or we can kind of do deep dive on any given point. Up to you. But I have a lot of questions in total, so I'd recommend going rapid fire for this first part.
Sure. Whatever you want to do, man. You're the host.
Cool. Thanks, man. On project, the first question that I ask everybody is the supply. What is the current available supply? What's the target final total supply?
The target final total supply is 200 million. We're heading close to 150 right now because our halving is in February of this year. So February 27th, I believe. So we're getting close to 150 million available supply right now.
Awesome. Okay. And then transactions per second might not be the thing that the hill you guys are trying to die on, but it's a useful metric for some people.
Yep.
What's your throughput?
I believe it's 30-something transactions per second. I believe so. Okay.
And with that kind of attached to the question, does the Pirate Chain team foresee a need to use a second layer solution?
Realistically, nobody needs a second layer solution at this point. Because, I mean, until you have mass adoption where you're actually utilizing that many transactions per second, then, I mean, there's no need for it. On top of that, we have a 1-minute block time, too. So it's not like, you know, it's going to be a real need anytime soon. So,
got it. Okay. So it sounds like then you guys are really confident as it is right now with the way it's traded right now and transacted right now. Okay. Yep. And then the emission curve, you already mentioned that. I mean, I should ask, when did the project start? If you're 150 million coins or tokens in to a limited supply of 200, this will kind of tell us where you are in terms of that curve.
Yeah, so we started August 29th of 2018. We have a halving every 9 months. So it's I think it's 37,000 or I forget the block number exactly, but every 9 months we have a halving. And the original reward was 256. Now it's 128. And in February 27th, it'll be 64. It cuts down, obviously, from there. But the reason for that is because we're trying to play catch up with the rest of the game, you know? So there was a really high emission at first, but now it's as soon as, you know, the next couple halvings this year, it's going to be pretty low. So
that's awesome. I like that it's also, I mean, 256 down to 128 kind of makes sense to me also, coming from a bit of an IT, like a hobby computing background, enthusiast background, whereas some other stuff where it's like, hey, we're going to start with 50. It seems oddly European, right? It's like 50 hertz. Like, what are we doing this on? Like, what are we basing this on?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about the initial problem or pain that the Pirate Chain team sought to solve. And if you have a personal anecdote that you can kind of give the audience some background on, that'd be awesome. Because I'll give you a little bit of background on why I asked this question. For a lot of coin projects, I like to evaluate them as though I'm looking at, say, a Silicon Valley tech startup. And generally speaking, the traditional tech startup wisdom is that you're trying to solve somebody's problem or you're trying to take away somebody's pain.
Yeah.
Was that the case for Pirate Chain? If so, what pain? And maybe who? Who said that? Like, it's too much. Can't take it. Got to fix it.
Well, at that point in time in the privacy space, the running knowledge was, especially from, say, Fluffy Pony, he was mentioned that ZK Snarks offers the best privacy. But in reference to Zcash, the fungibility is ridiculous because you have all these transparent transactions and like 1% of their chain is private. That's not really a privacy coin if you can see the vast majority of transactions. So we sought to solve that by making a Z address only chain, a completely shielded chain where the only transactions that you see are whereas the amounts transacted, the addresses and everything is in the very beginning from that block reward. Once that reward is released, whether it be to a solar miner or the pool itself, that's transparent. And then from that point, it gets divvied to all the miners from the pool or whatever. Or after that, it's all completely shielded. So anything after that, I can make a transaction with you. Nobody can see anything that's in the transaction, any messages that were in the transaction, nothing. You can't even see the addresses that were transacted to. Only you and me know what happens, right? So the problem we're trying to solve is having the strongest privacy coin that acts just like cash, because nobody can trace cash really. So having that on top of complete security from 51% attacks, which is done via Komodo's delayed proof of work. So in order to 51% attack us, you have to 51% attack our chain, Komodo's chain, and Bitcoin's chain simultaneously to even change our history.
Got it. So you got triple chain notarization or dual chain notarization against the Pirate Chain.
Yep.
Awesome. This is great. Okay. Makes sense to me. That pain point makes sense to me. And I'm sure you can tell I sport this hat to a lot of the interviews. So it's definitely not personal. It's not a dig against any one project. It's actually one of my favorite hats. See all the sweat stains and stuff. I'd go hiking in it.
I have hats just like that, man, that I wear all the time. So I understand completely. And plus, I mean, it's not like we have anything against Monero. Monero is a solid project. It's just, we're in the same space. We're not like dissing on them at all because they're, like I said, a great project. But we're just doing our own thing.
Very cool. Well, I definitely see the value proposition in the way you were trying to solve that pain. Let me ask you, as far as a unique tech and the advantage and the benefit of that versus any other solutions that were available at the time, why go with your chain? It sounds like it's a direct fork of Komodo.
Yeah.
And then why go with specifically along the development path of ZK Snarks and DPoW? Was there anything else you could have forked, or was there anything else you guys felt you could have developed in-house to go a different path, or was this like the clear and obvious choice for you?
For us, Komodo already had shielded transactions at that point in time, but at that same point, they're different from Zcash because they're a complete platform where you can build off of them. So JL and their team was like, why don't we create a chain that's completely shielded? That was the original intent of Zcash, to be a complete privacy chain, and use their tech, which is considered one of the strongest privacy techs out there. So we had the tools in front of us already. So we just started to, build upon that.
Got it. Okay.
And then with delayed proof of work, there's nobody that's been able to prove that, that's breakable, So, we try to take in the best of everywhere that we can find and then integrate it into Pirate Chain.
Awesome. And so that's what distinguishes it today. As far as the team right now, who would you highlight? And you're in a unique position because you're the guy interviewing on behalf of Pirate Chain to give some shout outs here. But if you could boil it down to a couple of contributors who merit kind of like a top space shout out right now, who on the team makes the project unique because of their contribution to Pirate Chain?
Oh man. This is just like asking, out of all of your friends, who are your 5 favorite?
Sure. Your 3 children, which one will you not let die of cancer or whatever? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's a messed up question, but put you in the hot seat.
Oh man, I can't honestly boil it down to just a few or just a handful, just for the simple fact that our project is also unique in the sense of it's community driven. So you can go in there tomorrow and then just say, hey, can I help out with this? Yeah, go ahead. And then you start working on that. And the more you contribute, later on, you'll get promoted. Once we see, how much you've actually contributed and how resourceful you are, and then just keep going up the chain, and soon you can be just below a captain. That's how I got promoted to captain, to be honest.
So because you guys run a tight ship, and it's very much a meritocracy then.
Yeah. So like I found out about Pirate Chain 2 months after the Genesis block, right? So I was mining it at that point just to, make some profits. And then I started reading on it, and I was like, this is a really solid project. They have clear goals, and the tech behind it is amazing. Plus JL777, who's the lead developer of Komodo, is a core dev for Pirate. So I was like, let me see what I can do for them. Let me actually contribute. So I started joining the weekly meetings and stuff, and they're asking for suggestions for, how can we make a big splash in the market? How to advertise. I was like, why don't you create some physical coins? Because a lot of people like collecting that stuff. And then they were like, yeah, go ahead and head it up. Like, I don't know anything about it, but sure, why not? So I created a physical coin for Pirate Chain, and then after that, Komodo wanted some, so I started doing that and actually built my own business off of that. But in the meantime, I started contributing more and more, got promoted all the way up to captain, and now I'm, one of the people that head the ship. So
very cool. Well, I mean, I know where this interview is all about Pirate Chain, but I'm going to hit you up for ref links to your shop now. Now that I know you do coins.
Yeah,
it's cool. Okay, so awesome. It sounds like then, man, this is what I love to hear when there are community-oriented projects. I'd love to hear that there's like proper meritocracy in place, that people who are newcomers that have value to add can actually gain that status as a member of the team, right? Like be accepted. Because there's some that'll say like, oh, we don't have an agenda and we want everybody to come contribute, but it's like, you're very selective about whose pull requests you acknowledge, and you really kind of. I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of coins out there, right? And some that have been community driven that have failed. So that's great to see when it works.
Oh yeah, and to answer your question, let me just spit out like real quick a bunch of names. Mr. Lynch, JL, Pones, Lutz, Cosius, Dream Tim, Crypto Fist, Wookie, Llama, Jew Crypto, Jane, Radix 42. And let's see, who else can I spit out real quick?
While you're thinking, Jew Crypto was the most vocal. He was the squeaky wheel that I think got this thing set up. When I mentioned, hey, I want to interview projects, and he was like, you should interview Pirate, and started tagging people and stuff, retweeting. And
he's been a huge advocate for Pirate for quite a while. He's been silent for the beginning, but recently he just jumped right on board, and he's been just pushing us along on the Twitter and everywhere. So he's been a huge help.
Very cool. Well, I hate to cut the list short, but I know that was like the top of mind. I'm sure you won't hurt anybody's feelings if I push through to the rest of the interview.
Oh, go ahead.
So
yeah,
but that's awesome. And the fact that you had almost a dozen names off the top of your head shows that you guys are interacting a lot and getting a lot of work done. So that's great.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to ask. This is something that I think it seems like a short list would be Komodo, but ask about collabs. I think one of the biggest signs of a really healthy, free and open source software culture is when development teams and communities rally around the tech that helps secure their network, and then help to do responsible disclosure for other people who are affected by bugs, or try to help other teams, even though they won't directly benefit. It might be an indirect benefit, or maybe it won't even be an indirect benefit. Maybe it's just goodwill. They're trying to build up, so they have a chip to cash in later on for favors. But what kinds of collabs has Pirate Chain been involved in?
The most recent, actually, we formed a partnership with Turtle Network. And Turtle Network's a fork of Waves, and it's basically run by a bunch of people, including Wolf of Waves, who used to be from Waves but moved in with the Turtle Network team, and has been crucial for our development, surprisingly, because not only have we collabed with them and then we're building stuff together like a gateway to their exchange, but they're building a wallet to include us in there, and then that wallet you can also trade inside that wallet, but on their exchange, but just by using the wallet. On top of that, they're helping us build the point of sale system we're going for. And it's just a ridiculous amount of developments that are coming out from between the both of us just to push both of us forward. And we have another partnership that's coming out that we'll be talking about, I think, next week. That's going to be pretty big too. It's going to basically be integrated into our operating system that we developed. So we're forming partnerships, especially recently, left and right, it seems like. But Wolf, I just want to say as well, is a massive, massive help. The dude is amazing. So,
okay. Well, hey, for the purposes of scheduling, next week's interviews are already scheduled, so you wouldn't be released until the last week of January. So I don't know if that dovetails with the announcement. If you want to talk about it here, I won't give any spoilers, but it'll go live last week of January. So
yeah, that should be enough time, I believe. Okay. We're partnering with Sentinel, the decentralized VPN. So we'll be including that in our operating system. So not only will you be able to eventually, use your wallet on a custom-built OS based on OpenSUSE with the features of Tails, you can run your wallet on it over a VPN using Tor, and you'll have Turtle Network's wallet on there to where you can trade on their exchange via this OS. And it's all USB bootable. It's ridiculous.
You guys have like all my attention now. So yeah, because I'm always bouncing back and forth between Ubuntu and Fedora, and I tried not OpenSUSE. I actually tried the boxed version of SUSE years ago, and was like, interesting, but I haven't been back in a little while, and I know I need to evaluate. So,
and this is our first iteration of the OS too. So we have Ghost Ship, which is the lightweight version. And then we're going to have Galleon OS, which is basically the full package. It's going to have the Explorer, so you can go surf the net and do whatever you want to do on the net over Tor and everything, and just a ton more features than Ghost Ship. So there's a lot more to come with the OS, and we're actually adding encryption next month too. So the data portion of the drive will be encrypted and password protected. So if you happen to lose that drive somehow, you don't have to really worry too much about, your funds just instantly getting stolen.
That is awesome. And then, of course, because it's a live distro, go ahead and pop it into a public kiosk at the library or something and handle your business.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay. Oh, man, it's going to be so hard not to ask you questions about that later on in the interview now. So I'm going to got to keep a straight face now and play dumb for a week and a half. But, I mean, thank you.
The only thing that's actually not going to be released or information that's not going to be released till later on is the Sentinel partnership, the VPN. Everything else is public knowledge. So
got it. Okay. Well, mum's the word. This is only going live when it goes live on YouTube, and you guys will have publication links and everything. So hopefully it's helpful. Part of the Marcom package where you guys do the reveal that week. But cool. So in conjunction with that question about collabs, another really big sign of kind of healthy open source culture and healthy development culture is giving back. Have you contributed to any projects such as Komodo that you forked from, or any other ZK Snark or proof of work oriented coins?
Well, considering that JL777 is part of Pirate as well, so it's kind of like back and forth. So anything that kind of comes up with us that can be integrated with Komodo does, and so forth. So
okay, got it. So it sounds like the closest partnership then for both collaborations and then for pushing code back and forth is with Komodo then.
Yeah, and I mean on top of the Turtle Network, and like we help each other out. For example, I helped set up their entire Discord because they didn't have one, So we kind of pool resources together. I mean, they're the ones who got us a developer for our point of sale system, So it's just a back and forth collaboration where we give and take. So
very cool. It's great to hear. Again, when it comes to open source, especially when it's community oriented, volunteer oriented, it's great to hear that people are reaching out, right? Offering olive branches to other projects, even if they're closely related.
Yeah.
There's plenty of toxicity in the other sides of crypto. So
yeah, we try to avoid that as much as possible.
It's hard, right? Because a lot of people are jaded too.
It really is. Yeah.
So if you've been here longer than a year, it's like a lot of dudes are like, all right, I'm depressed. My bags are all deflated.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let me ask, as far as funding goes, is there a community fund? Is there a dev block reward, a percentage of the block reward that goes to community-oriented and directed projects that are approved? Yeah, how did funding look in the beginning, and how does it look now?
Funding in the beginning looks identical to how it is now, pretty much. So there's no dev fee. We had a fair launch, so there's no pre-mine, no ICO, there's no dev tax, nothing, So we had a fair launch and all that. So all of our funding comes from donations from the community. And we also have a couple notary nodes from Komodo that we run, that gets a portion of that gets donated to the pirate funds. So
it's all value based, though. You're contributing to security of the network in exchange for something. You're not just getting a tax just because you guys are cool.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. So like the two notary nodes that we have are our people got voted in, so they got voted in. So they're securing Komodo's network, and then they're using, because they could easily just take the rewards from those notary nodes and keep it for themselves. They have no obligation to actually, donate it to PirateChain. So, but a small portion of those nodes get donated, the funds from that, to PirateChain itself, just to continue development and everything. So we've been running on, maybe less than $2,000 a month for development. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've produced this much.
That's
Just imagine if we were to get funded, what we could do,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say, right? Like, I knew a lot of guys that did like import racing back in SoCal back in the day, right? And they'd always be like, "Yeah, give me 4 more cylinders, homie." It's like sometimes more displacement doesn't get you there faster.
That's true. I actually used to own a shop too back in the day. So
okay, yeah, and that seems to be a common thing in these circles too. Proof of work and crypto. There's there's a guy, Nubasaur, who's got still actually helps run a shop that specialized in S2000s. Is kind of the big thing.
Nice,
but because they're the guys everybody knows, they're the S2000 guys. So anything done, and they know S2000 like the back of their hands. So
yeah, we mainly focused on imports. I had a 05 STI with about 550 to the wheels, so it was fun. nice. So oh man, yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to keep myself disciplined here, not go down rabbit holes. So funding then sounds like it's pretty straightforward. And I want to talk to you about bugs, just inflation bugs, botnets, 51% attacks, any kind of a technical threat that came from the outside or malicious attack. Is there anything in the history of PirateChain that is notable? And if so, how'd you guys handle it? In PirateChain, no, because we originally started with Sprout and then migrated to Sapling, right? So as everyone knows, during Sprout, Zcash found a bug in there where it was, I believe, was it an inflation bug?
Yeah, I think it was a hidden inflation bug.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even though ZK Snarks have been audited like a couple dozen times, and they said, "Hey, it's moon math. This is really difficult to figure out. Like, got to be like a NASA level engineer." Oh yeah.
So after they figured that out, and then they were gonna migrate to Sapling, we actually did it before them completely. So it was only a few months after, or 3 or 4 months after our chain was actually live, that we migrated over to Sapling. So we did a turnstile way of doing the transfer of funds and everything to the Sapling, and didn't see any inflation, nothing. So everything worked out math-wise, and
very cool.
From that point on, we haven't really seen much, except for actually there was a Komodo Gamma hack or a bug or whatever, where something with the private keys and everything, and some malicious attacker was attacking that wallet by uploading certain code or whatever that was later on found. And I think it was JL who basically utilized that bug to prevent the other guy from taking all the funds, and any funds that was missing, JL kind of distributed to everybody. But it wasn't much funds lost from us on that end. So, but that's a wallet thing. That's not a code thing for Pirate. So
sure, the chain itself was safe, and like you mentioned, the total coin supply, it all added up.
Yep,
that's awesome, man. Okay, yeah, another some coins have been attacked in similar ways and not been so fortunate, right?
Yeah.
Bitcoin, pour one out for stuff. Bitcoin Gold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that attack was nasty. But last question about the project would just be with regards to unique tech advantages, just stuff that's coming up on the roadmap. And I'll pull up that roadmap graphic right now. So we have that as a backdrop. But stuff that's coming up on the roadmap that makes PirateChain a unique project, or something worth looking into in the future.
Yeah. So the biggest thing would be the point of sale system, right? So in Q3, it says point of sale system register. So what we're aiming to release there is an app that we can just give to any merchant across the world, right? And what would happen at that point is they can integrate that with their store by just, having customers scan that app, as far as the payment goes, right? So you can actually pay in PirateChain, and they can either accept that or change their settings to where they can accept a stable coin. So this is in line with what we're building with Turtle Network. So that basically the process for that is the coins would then get sent to the exchange, instantly sold for USDT or TUSD or whatever stable coin that they choose, and then get transferred to the wallet of that store owner. Now we're going one step further in Q4 by doing the same thing but with fiat, right? So you can actually have a store owner accept fiat when you actually pay in PirateChain. So the process for that is, instead of those stable coins getting sent to the merchant, it would get sent to the bank that we're going to partner up with, which we're still in the process. That's nowhere near, official, obviously, or complete or whatever. But it'll get sent to a bank and then converted to that merchant's native fiat and then sent to them to their bank account. So for countries that they don't allow the acceptance of cryptocurrencies as a form of payment, would actually sidestep that rule because they're not accepting cryptocurrency, they're accepting their native fiat. It's just that the customer is paying with PirateChain, which also protects their privacy because there's no record of that transaction that anybody can see. So.
Got it. Okay. And this would be along the lines of, say, you guys placing an ATM at that location, as opposed to it being like the actual cash register that turns the retail outlet into a money exchanging business.
Well, yeah, the register it would be the actual app itself. I mean, that's another thing that we're, thinking about doing is like an ATM style thing, but that's not on our priority list. So.
Got it. Okay. That's really exciting, man. So it sounds like the second half of this year is going to be pretty exciting for point of sale stuff then.
Oh yeah. And that's real. That's where real adoption comes in too, because the moment you can go to a store and actually use your cryptocurrency to pay for something that you need, and pay for most things that you need, and don't have to worry about actually using your cash or your bank account, that's where adoption is, and that's where you'll see the usage start skyrocketing. So
awesome. Okay, well, let's jump back into some project oriented questions that I think we'll circle back to this, some of the future roadmap there with the point of sale stuff. But let's talk before then about proof of work, because you guys are a proof of work coin primarily.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of the block reward goes to proof of work mining?
What do you mean, as far as?
So folks who are mining the ARRR coin, how much of the block reward goes to them?
All of it.
Okay, so is there a percentage of it that goes to the DPound nodes that are securing against 51% attack?
As far as I know, that's all on Komodo. I'm not. Excuse me about the information, because I'm not 100% sure on this stuff. I'm not a dev, so I know a lot about our stuff, but that is a little above my head. But as far as I know, the only rewards that get taken out is the pool fees. Whatever pool you use, they take their fee, and then the rest gets dumped on to the miners of that pool. So that's, as far as I know, that's how it works, but it could be slightly different.
Got it. Okay, I was going to ask questions about incentive and reward on behalf of notary node operators, and seeing if that's a part of the block reward that's been cut out for them, or if it is a voluntary amount that's given by some other side of the coin supply somehow, or if there's like a community governance mechanism that people use for voting and then saying, all right, give this much to the notary nodes. Okay. All right. But it sounds like, though, in order to achieve consensus, it's primarily proof of work, but there are notary nodes that are securing the chain. And I'm not super familiar with this concept. I'm only a little bit familiar with it by having spent some time talking around other forks of Komodo and hearing them talk about it.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you, to be honest.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Some of that stuff is a little more technical than what I'm comfortable with. So
okay, we're just going to insert a slate here. I'm going to try to find a screenshot of that breakdown from the project site, and then everybody watching will be an expert faster than we will.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So as far as the launch consensus mechanism, proof of work, and today proof of work, and in the future, next year,
proof of work. Yep.
Cool. CPUs, GPUs, bit streams for FPGAs, and then ASICs. It kind of becomes an arms race, right? The proof of work scene. With the Pirate Chain team, what does the project or the community view as kind of the direction of all of proof of work? And what do you guys think is a reasonable decentralization and distribution of hash rate?
As far as the miners are concerned, ASICs, we don't care, because the thing is that the more you resist ASICs and everyone tries to stay on GPUs, the more likely someone could just come along with, an ASIC, figure out how to mine your chain, like Monero, for example, right? They have a problem with that, so they keep switching algorithms. So with us, we're like, it is what it is. Plus, at this point in time, miners are so cheap, especially ASIC miners and Equihash ones, that anyone that's trying to build a GPU rig or whatever can easily afford a Z11, because that'll, not only boost their hash rate compared to a GPU rig, but it's actually slightly cheaper because, motherboard, video cards, all that fun stuff, that costs a lot of money. I know, I built some, but even on the lower end, say you have a GPU, like a small end GPU, you could buy a Z11 mini, that's what, $70, $80 used, or even new, they're cheap. So, realistically, it's just like any technology. The more they're produced, the cheaper it gets so that everyone else can afford them. It's just a huge cycle like that. So we don't see anything wrong with ASICs and things like that. So,
got it. Okay, and that makes sense. I'm getting all different kinds of responses from all different kinds of projects. I promise you, some projects that you wouldn't expect it have said stuff like, hey, we don't even want to do proof of work anymore. We're going to completely fork consensus. And these are projects that started with proof of work and were supported by miners, and they built their reputation on mining and distribution of the coins on mining. But there's not a one size fits all answer, I don't think. But that's awesome. It's good to know you guys are like pretty. Looks like at least you guys have your eyes open about it.
Oh yeah. And don't get me wrong, I don't think proof of work is like the greatest thing ever. Everything else sucks. It's just the different consensus mechanisms all have their advantages, right? And I'm actually glad that not everyone uses proof of work, because it's best to utilize all the different advantages in the space that you can. So it's just, I can mine with one coin with my miners, and then the other coin I could just use whatever I have in my wallet as staking, or just master nodes or whatever. So
yeah, cool. All right, so asking along the lines of proof of work, as far as forks go, there are some projects like Monero that they've publicly committed to fork every 6 months if they have to, to stave off the attack of ASICs, air quotes.
Yeah.
What would cause PirateChain to fork, either to a different proof of work algorithm, or to proof of stake, or proof of capacity, or something else? What kind of a threat would it require?
That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest. There'd have to be something seriously wrong with the code that wouldn't or couldn't be fixed in the next 6 months or longer, or even 4 months or whatever, that would cause us to actually go over to something else. Because as of this point, Equihash is battle tested, and especially with Zcash's code, there's nothing wrong with it at this point, So I don't see anything that could really force us to go that route.
Got it. Okay. And as far as sort of the customer avatar or the customer profile applied to miners, who's the person that ideally you want mining Pirate Chain?
What do you mean?
So there's this concept in sales and marketing of the customer profile, the customer avatar, like the ideal person coming into your shop and getting your stuff and paying you in a certain way. Now, if miners are paying you in hash rate, who's that ideal customer? Who's that person? Yeah, what do they like?
Honestly, I feel like it would be just an everyday person, people that just are, for example, I wouldn't want the hash rate to be centralized to mining farms, like ginormous ones for Bitcoin and whatnot. Just the everyday user, someone that's interested in privacy, that wants to help the network by just, moving their hash rate over to us. That's where, personally, I feel is the best outcome for having just a ton of hash rate. Just have it spread out to as many users as possible, and then make it just as decentralized as possible. And just average Joes that are just looking to get into privacy in our coin. So,
got it. Okay, so sort of the Satoshi ideal of one CPU, one vote, if possible.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. There's always going to be people with a huge amount of hash rate, but you got to get it where you can. So,
sure, makes sense. So let's kind of turn the conversation towards privacy, and this is where we get into the meat potatoes, man. This is where it matters,
Okay.
in my opinion. And I've interviewed projects that are not privacy oriented and don't have a privacy offering on blockchain, or don't have any other attached products that they're working on with their development team that have anything to do with privacy. But I think that a lot of the different approaches in the cryptocurrency space right now, I think we're going to see in 2020 that privacy, as we get closer to election time, as we get closer to all kinds of proposed measures and campaign trail promises and stuff, that a lot of, especially Americans, are going to be very interested in privacy.
Oh yeah, I've always said, privacy coins this year and in the next several years are going to be huge, just because. I mean, if putting aside elections, just look what's going on in the world. Hell, even China. Look at all the spying shit they have there. So,
yeah,
I mean, privacy is going to be huge, regardless of anything. So,
yeah, agreed. And this is why that's the through line of this interview series, because it matters, and how everybody approaches it they're going to be repercussions, whether it's good or bad. So, what? And this is an easy answer for you guys, but what percentage of the transactions on your network are currently private based on user behavior?
Based on user behavior, 100%.
Awesome. And then the privacy mechanism, you mentioned it before, but what privacy mechanism does Pirate Chain use?
ZK Snarks.
And then who developed it, and is it peer reviewed?
I don't know the original developer, but Zcash is the one that originated with that for cryptocurrency, and it is peer reviewed. So,
okay,
as far as I know.
Got it. And does it require trusted setup?
By trusted, you mean as far as
initiating a coin fork or clone of your project, would it require trusted setup?
The only thing I've ever heard about trusted setup is the sapling NPC. So they had, over, was it 90 or 100 people go in there, put in some code and do all their fun stuff. And then, it relies on that. So that is a trusted setup. But as far as the technicals behind all that stuff, that's a little over my head. So.
Got it. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. Also, I want to say that, was it Peter Todd that went out of his way to say, hey, trusted setup is okay as long as you do it, and take these steps here and then do this other thing with your keys and everything else. I want to say there have been a couple of very prominent developers who've sort of like blessed the ZK Snarks trusted setup like motion, as long as you do it, I guess, the right way.
Yeah. And the thing is about the sapling NPC is that literally every single person in there would have to corroborate with each other to actually do damage. You can force every single one to, damage the chain except for one person. You can't damage the chain because that one person is needed. You have to have everybody to damage the chain. So,
got it. Okay, that's just one of the questions because it's an apples to apples comparison. There are some protocols that don't require trusted setup, but then have different privacy mechanisms. So, it's just on the list. Yeah. But as far as anonymity set size, this is kind of a really technical, geeky question. Do you know the anonymity set size for ZK snarks?
For our chain, it's absolutely massive. I don't know the exact number, but literally every single transaction that happens, whether it's a minor reward or like, you know, getting sent from one user to another, to an exchange, to airdrops or whatever, every single transaction after that block reward goes into that anonymity set. So our anonymity set is massive compared to, say, Zcash, which is only 1% of the chain is shielded. So their anon set is just kind of small. We've actually been complimented on our anon set by not only Zcash themselves, but Monero as well. MoneroCon, I think it was 2019 or 2018, or 2019, actually had us in one of their slides. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so good to know, and I'm glad that you guys had a chance to finally like brag about this on an interview. I'm sure you have in other interviews. That's like a really great central talking point. But in this interview series so far, a lot of chains either don't know the anonymity set size or they don't really have a good basis or model for comparison. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
As far as proof time or I apologize, I'm ahead of myself. Chain analysis, big concern in 2020. There are some chain analysis companies that have de-anonymized Bitcoin essentially completely.
Yeah.
I think if they really want to figure out who people are, who Bitcoin bag holders are, they know. Yep. And then there are some exchanges that have kicked users off because they've used CoinJoin or different tumblers or Wasabi Wallet or whatever else and said, hey, we noticed that you did this because we have chain analysis going on in the background. And even though you took your Bitcoin off exchange, you tumbled your coins like whatever, 5 transactions later. It's none of their business. But it's a concern because we've seen it happen now out in the wild. Has there ever been a claim from anyone that chain analysis works on PirateChain?
No. Not at all.
Okay. I had a feeling that was the answer, but I needed to set it up. So, and then the cost for committing to all Z transactions, all shielded transactions, privacy all the time. Is there an increase in the data size per transaction?
Yeah. Our chain size at this point in time, I think it's about 4.2 gigs, something like that. And that's over a year and a couple months. Few months. So, I mean, it is a little bit bigger, but not by much, especially with sapling. With Sprout, it was significantly bigger. But the move to sapling made things a lot more efficient, a lot smaller. So,
okay. And is there chain pruning or Merkle tree pruning?
That's a little too technical for me. So,
I'm only familiar with it as a concept. I don't understand it at a very low level, like deep level at all. I asked because for some coins they utilize that to decrease the chain size moving forward, and then
gotcha.
So, okay. Verification time or total settlement time. How long does it take to have a fully shielded transaction go through, be verified, and fully settled on PirateChain?
1 minute.
Okay.
So we have 1 minute block times that, as soon as you send something, obviously it gets in the queue, and then 1 minute block time, done. So.
Okay. And there's no, the development team doesn't see any need to do any kind of whatever enhanced settlement feature or like instant send or.
No, not really. So, I mean, the moment you send something, it goes on to you can see the transaction ID on the block explorer, and as soon as it's there, it's in the queue to get put into the next block. So,
got it. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, 1 minute settlement time or 1 minute block time does make it sound a little bit like a better candidate for point of sale then too.
Yeah, exactly.
With some coins, I know they've got whatever a 5 minute block time or a 2 minute block time, and so there's this push to add technology that allows for an instant send feature, so that the not that the actual settlement takes place in that time, but like notification of the settlement goes through on the receiving end, so somebody can say, "Oh, I sent this transaction 2 seconds later. Hey, I got it. So now we're good." Because I guess that's the expectation, but.
I mean, you could do something like that, especially say with like the point of sale system, right? So, like, I mean, obviously there's there's a whole process and everything that we're still developing as to how it'll work. But that's something we could potentially integrate into the point of sale system where, you scan and pay for something, all of a sudden they get that notification, hey, something scanned, we're good. So you know that you've been paid for that transaction. So you don't actually have to wait a whole minute for it to be confirmed onto the blockchain, so.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like with DPAL also, you guys you're not worried about a 51% attack coming in and somebody rewriting the block in that 1 minute time.
Exactly. That's the whole reason why we have DPAL, So, and on top of that, with the point of sale system, if it were to get to the point where, oh my God, it's spreading like wildfire, everyone's using a point of sale system and making transactions. Once it gets to that point, which won't be probably for quite a while, that's when we could potentially consider like a side chain or something else to actually assist with those transactions. So.
Got it. Okay. So it sounds like that maybe there has been some conversation regarding side chains or second layer solutions for settling a big, huge number of transactions if and when that need arises.
Yeah, like a very, very brief conversation about that, because it was me and I think somebody else that actually brought that up to JL. He's like, you don't need that right now. You don't have to worry about that because that's not going to happen for quite a while anyways, like years, So let's focus on developing everything we want to do and then worry about the whole, transactions per second when that need arises, like, in the distant future. But with the point of sale system, it could come up sooner, but, who knows?
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. On privacy still, and these are going to be simple questions, but is the transaction amount visible on chain?
No.
Is the origin or the destination wallet visible on chain?
Nope.
Okay. Got to ask because apples to apples. Are there any other privacy functions aside from transactions that are supported on chain by PirateChain?
Yeah, actually I can write a private memo, in the memo field. And eventually we're going to try and develop a messaging system as well. So this way you can send private messages or whatever. But as it currently stands right now, I can send you just the transaction fee. I could pay just the transaction fee just to send the memo to you, and nobody else can read it except for you and me.
Very cool. And then that functionality may be expanded upon in the future and keeping it on chain.
Yeah.
Okay. So are there any third-party wallets for PirateChain or that support PirateChain today?
Agama, and then soon Turtle Networks wallet. So
awesome. And of course, with the main value proposition, PirateChain being fully shielded transactions, do the third-party wallets support fully shielded transactions today?
Agama, yes. So Agama, like it used to be run by Komodo, but now it's been taken over by Varus. So Varus has their coin. They have a privacy feature that uses these transactions as well. So, I mean, it's not like a light wallet or anything where, it's just, you don't download the blockchain. So with Agama, obviously you have to download the entire chain. It is a multi-coin wallet too, so you can download Varus's chain, whatever. And, it supports all those Z transactions that are part of Komodo's platform. So.
Got it. Okay. Then about on mobile wallets, is there a mobile wallet for PirateChain today?
Soon. So within the next month or two, we should have our own mobile wallet as well.
Very cool. And with the mobile wallet, does the design scope include fully shielded transactions? Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
So it's going to be based off of our light wallet, which does fully shielded transactions. So.
Okay, awesome. So again, this is the stable of questions, apples to apples. Yep. There are projects that you would presume would want to preserve all the privacy features on mobile, and for whatever reason, it's just harder to develop, and so they don't have it on mobile yet.
Yeah, we are. If you were to actually join, to read everything that we've ever written in our Telegram or Discord or whatever, you would see that we're super privacy focused to the point where we don't want to give as much as any more that we need to just to preserve our privacy, like all of our users' privacy. That's why we developed the operating system and all those other things that we're currently developing just to protect our users' privacy. We don't want to give any of that up just to be able to be integrated somewhere, Like, for example, Zcash, we don't want to give up the privacy portion of our chain and have transparency just because, we can be integrated with this huge company. That's not who we are.
Got it. Okay. And then future privacy plans. Is there anything that maybe is on chain or isn't on chain? Maybe is a bit of an ecosystem play, like you mentioned before with the OS and some of the other integrated elements. Is there anything you haven't mentioned already that is privacy focused to enhance the privacy of users?
Yeah, VPNs, which we're working on that, obviously, for partnering and blah blah blah. With Turtle Network, we're trying to do something similar to an atomic swap, to where it uses PirateChain as a base pair, and you can swap 2 coins anonymously. The Z Atomic DEX, which Komodo is developing, once they integrate us into their Atomic DEX, which will also use PirateChain as a base pair to atomically swap 2 coins anonymously. So there's so many different uses for our chain that it seems like it's a new one every day, and it's just always amazing ideas. So
very cool. Okay, so it sounds like then watch the roadmap, because we'll see new stuff pretty soon then.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about the privacy opinions of Draeth in particular. So this will be a little bit more personal. This may or may not reflect the views of the entire Pirate Chain community. This is just you answering these questions at this point.
Sure.
But, what are your top 3 favorite private currencies? And I'll qualify this question a little bit. It can be a real world method of value exchange. It could, such as like a private agreement between 2 people, or it can be something that's like a bearer instrument that you carry with you. Or it can be a digital currency or a cryptocurrency. But what are your top 3?
My top 3 honestly would have to be PirateChain, Monero, and then just gold in general. Gold coins, like real gold, because fiat, as we all know, is just losing power over time, because it's just so massively inflated that it's just continually inflated just to make up for value loss. So obviously cash is no good, and then bearer bonds or whatever they are, I don't want to deal with that. Just gold, solid choice. Obviously silver is also a really solid choice, and that's going to go up in the near future as well. But for me, my top 2 aside from that, PirateChain and Monero.
Okay, awesome. And then of all those options that listed before, gold, silver, Monero, and then top of the list, PirateChain, how many of them have you used?
All of them. I mean, as far as PirateChain, Monero, of course I've used them.
Sure.
And then gold and silver, I mean, jewelry, just old coins that I've had, things like that. So
awesome. So it sounds like then on a collecting, sort of the rainy day crap hitting the fan type plan is where some of the gold and silver is stored today for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And again, no wrong answers here. I've asked several people this question, gotten some very interesting responses. Some
I can only imagine. Yeah.
So, thankfully, nobody's trotted out the old prostitution play yet, where it's like, I can always just swear myself out. There's always that. It's like, it's not that private.
Has anybody ever mentioned bottle caps, like from Fallout?
Not yet. Oh no, I don't know. I get the sense. I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get some. Some gamers.
I should have said
that. So let's kind of related to that question would be wallets or methods of storage. What are your favorite privacy wallets?
Paper wallets. If for storing the majority of my wealth, paper wallets, just because I'm not going to hack it. So aside from that, full node wallets. And then it's for multi-coin. I don't know. Like I've always used Jax, and I've never really had any issues with it. But I mean, that's the only real multi-coin wallet aside from Agama that I've really used. So
Got it. It seems like a lot of multi-wallets wind up breaking privacy features. So
Yeah. So that's why I prefer, full node wallets, just because, you're 100% sure that it's your own node that you're communicating with. So
makes sense. As far as privacy tech, maybe something you think is not as widely used as you think it should be, something that everyone should know about and maybe everybody should give a try. It could be VPN, Tor, anything. What's a piece of privacy tech that you would recommend to the average user out there?
For the average user, a VPN. I mean, a solid VPN, not one that, reports all your data to who knows who, So trying to find the solid VPN to use would be probably the best thing to do, just because it increases your privacy and protects your data when it's transmitted, So, I mean, and plus they're the simplest things to use. If you're trying to explain Tor to people, like the average Joe, some people will get it, some may not. But for just trying to cover the entire base of people, of average Joes, VPN would be the easiest.
Okay, great. So solid VPN then. And then this is a closed-ended question. Pretty sure I know the answer, but does privacy matter?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Let's talk about, in your mind, worst case scenario. What would a world with a complete lack of privacy look like?
1984. So everything's tracked, everything's traced. You have there's no freedom of speech, no freedom of action, and just your thoughts are just limited to, what you're told is okay and not okay. Nobody has any but right to see how much I have, how much I make, what I spend it on, and like if you can't do those things, if you don't have financial privacy, you don't have any financial freedom, because you're always afraid that, say, I make a transaction today and then tomorrow, hey, it's illegal, you're going to jail. So
yeah, that's very, very well put. Let's go to the flip side, try to find some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if we do it right, like sort of like the ideal of privacy, we achieve that as a society, or maybe there's some really great technological breakthroughs that help make this really accessible. What does achieving total privacy look like in the world?
Total privacy?
If we do it right.
If we were to do it right, then the only information that I would be able to know about you is what you tell me. Or what you tell everybody that I somehow find out about. It's just the only privacy the only information about you is what you're willing to give, which is exactly how it should be. Nothing about your personal life, nothing about your financial life, nothing except for what is freely available coming straight from your mouth.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you going in depth on some of the more personal reasons for being interested in this project. I think with your explanation of what a total lack of privacy would look like, and now if we do it right, what it would look like, that kind of helps anybody who's not familiar with the project understand a bit of the culture behind PirateChain.
Oh yeah, and you can tell over the years too how the narrative's changed, because it went from well, it's none of your business to, well, if you're trying to hide something, you're probably doing something illegal. No, I just like my personal bubble. I don't like people knowing on anything unless I tell them exactly what they want to know. So,
sure, yeah, that definitely makes sense. It seems like even politically too, these things kind of move in cycles, right? McCarthyism all over again.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Definitely appreciate you going through all that. As far as the best way for, you know what? Normally I would just close the interview here. We got just a minute. Let's look at your wallets real fast. Because you mentioned that the wallet using the native client is, in your opinion, the best way to handle PirateChain.
Yeah.
So, and I had that window open.
All the way on the right.
Yeah, there we go. It's funny. I've got a little overlay here that it doesn't display, but it blocks me accessing it. So tabbed over. We're on the wallets page of pirate.black/wallets.
Yep.
And I see Pirate Ocean, 7 Seas, Pirate Wallet Lite, and then Verus Agama, and then a paper wallet.
Yep.
So for somebody who's just getting started, I see there's really good cross-platform support. 7Cs even has support for it looks like Raspbian or any kind of ARM-based Linux distribution.
Yep.
Somebody who's on just approaching their first pirate wallet. Recommendations?
Personally, I use 7Cs. It all really depends on how familiar they are with crypto in general. Because, I mean, if you've been in the space for a little bit, but you're not understanding of, oh, wait, my wallet has to download the entire chain, blah, blah, blah. The Light Wallet is a perfect solution for that. It's just quick and easy. It takes a few minutes for it to update everything, and then you're good to go, But as far as, maximum privacy and things like that, PirateOcean, 7Cs, and Verisagama are all full node wallets. So either one of those three are great to use. My preference is 7Cs because we do have an app that we build, but it's not release ready, I would say, that pairs with 7Cs so that it tunnels from the app to your 7Cs that's running on your server, your PC, wherever, to allow you to send transactions with your phone. It's kind of like a workaround for a mobile wallet, you know what I mean?
Got it.
So that's what we came up with at the time. But aside from that, 7Cs, you can write memos and things like that, and has it's really nice and clear. PirateOcean it's a great wallet, don't get me wrong, but it's just, very, very simplified wallet, like a Qt wallet, So It's just very simple, easy to use. 7Cs is just, a gorgeous, it looks great to me, and it's got a memo field you can write in, all that fun stuff. So.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate the recommendation and the breakdown there. And it sounds like that Verisagama then is a multi-wallet, but also will allow you to run a full node and preserve privacy on the desktop.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so thank you for the breakdown there. And I apologize for jumping back there. I'm probably going to edit that back towards when we talked about the wallets.
Yeah, you're fine, man.
But as far as best way to contact the team, because, I mean, real talk, there's, even with really good communities, it's really easy to get your head bitten off if you approach teams the wrong way, or some communities the wrong way.
Not with us.
Cool.
Absolutely not with us, because you can go into our Discord, and if you were to just say, "Hey, I'm a new user. How does this all work?" We'll easily bring you up to date on everything we're doing, how all this stuff works, and even JL will sometimes pop in and just answer questions. We had a user that came in that was pretty new, that JL was talking back and forth with him for about a solid hour, it seemed like. And I'm like, damn, I never talked to JL that much.
You were getting jealous. Senpai, notice me.
Yeah. No, but it was great because our community is super, super helpful. We're not the type of people that if you come in saying, "Hey, I'm from Monero," we're like, "Oh, get out of here." I mean, hell, we don't even. It's a rare occasion that we actually ban or kick anybody. You know what I mean? So you can just kind of be a jerk, or you could just be, I like this, and just going off topic and just scream about how, I love freaking BitConnect so much. BitConnect's amazing, blah, blah, blah. We don't care, because that's the whole thing. Freedom of speech, as long as you're not being a jerk to people in general and just ask honest questions, we'll answer everything you could possibly think of in our Telegram, Discord, or hell, even if you have a personal question that you don't want out, just DM one of us, or you can reach me personally at outreach@pirate.black and then go from there. So
awesome. And it sounds like then the most active channels are Discord and then maybe Telegram in that order, or kind
of Discord. Discord to me is more active. We have more users on there, but our Telegram's been growing pretty big recently. It's just influx of users over the past few weeks, so that's pretty active too. So pretty much either one. I mean, I use both. I know most of our community uses both. So, you can go on there, just ask away, and we'll freely answer your questions.
Okay, awesome. And then the final question that I have, and this is really, really serious. Can I borrow 50,000 ETH in exchange for my new token, KEX? It's going to be really big.
Wait, what? Can you borrow 50,000 ETH for your... Oh, man. I'll trade you one pirate chain for it.
Well, shucks. I was hoping it. Apparently, it's not easy. It's not easy to get people to pay 50,000 ETH in exchange for a new token sale. But
well, just promise them that you'll send them 100,000 ETH afterwards.
That's a good idea. Yeah, get a live stream going here.
Yeah, exactly.
Old interviews of Vitalik or something.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you going out of your way to answer a couple of deep dive questions about the project, and then also the ideology, man. I think that matters.
Yeah, 100%. To me, as long as your community is on the same page with privacy, with where the direction of the project is going, community is the best thing you could possibly have in a project. Without a solid backing of a community, you're not going to go anywhere because nobody's going to care about you. But if you have a strong community to raise you up and help out, you can go anywhere you want.
Awesome. Well, hey man, appreciate your time again, and links to everything that we covered in the actual conversation are down in the description. This should come out right about the time that you guys have some big announcements. So looking forward to seeing that go live.
Definitely, man. Appreciate it.